So today's meditation is specifically about transitions. When we did the whole meditation about belonging, and then we did the meditation about sharing, we were working with the connection between the base chakra and the sacral chakra. And what we know about that connection is that it is a transition space, that we are developing beyond the fears and the hopefulness of the base chakra in terms of establishing ourselves as being present on the earth plane, and then moving upward into a space of relating, of creating, of making sacred this life that we have chosen to live. But between the two, before we actually reach that space of making decisions, there's that transition space where we get to rebirth ourselves with a new awareness of what we're capable of, and the fact that we do actually have choices, that we can in fact set intentions for ourselves before we move into full creativity. In exactly the same way, the space between the sacral chakra and the solar plexus chakra is a transition space. So before we even get to the solar plexus and talk about self-respect and how we perceive the world and what conditioned reactions and new responses we can bring moment by moment into our lives, we look at that transition space between the sacral and the solar plexus. And that transition space impacts directly on our digestive systems, particularly the small intestines. This is the space where we can choose, because we're coming from the sacral chakra and free will, we're coming from our sacred contract with ourselves to be present. We can choose to digest, to accept what life has to offer. Here at Lourdes, it feels like there is a transition space. I'm not quite at home, it's a transition space. There is purpose here, there is work to be done here. There is a space of belonging, just like we had belonging in the space between the base chakra and the sacral chakra, but it's not quite home yet. You know that there is a bigger journey ahead, that there is a further space to move into creating sanctity, into creating sacredness of connections. And as I traverse from one chakra to the next, that transition space between the two chakras in this journey becomes a space of purpose, and then when that purpose is fulfilled, a space of rest. It becomes a space of evaluating, of taking note, of monitoring, of implementing a new way of being flexible with the intention. Particularly if you take note that we are moving from the base chakra in a grounded way into the sacral chakra, where the water energy demands fluidity, it demands flexibility. And in that psoas muscle that we've been talking about, we need to be flexible, particularly in our thinking and our willingness to be vulnerable emotionally in the world. Now when we move from the sacral upward into the solar plexus, there is a different kind of demand that is being made in this transition space. And it is the demand for acceptance, the demand for flexibility around our thinking, and the demand for rest, to allow the intention as it is unfolded until now to set in, to become more real, to guide the pathway ahead. And this is where we stop to digest everything that has unfolded until this moment of experiencing. That all of the previous experiences coagulate, they come together, they have an activity and a chemical reaction of their own, so that you have a higher vibration of the same intention. Here in this beautiful space where Our Lady has seen over 800 years of devotion, she is so present. She is a space of rest. For pilgrims, she is a space of transition. It is a little town set in the middle of nowhere, really, and it's so easy to pass it by. It's so easy to ignore its very existence, to note the beautiful buildings, but not feel its high vibration, not feel its history, not feel the stories it's telling us. And so we need to stop. We need to rest. We need to absorb everything that is available in these transition spaces. When I walk up on the way of the cross from chapel to chapel, depicting the various spaces of Christ, the various experiences that he had on his way to the crucifixion, in every one of those walks between one chapel and the next, I feel like I am transiting one experience to the next, one moment to the next. And when I reach the little chapel, I have a space of rest. In any pilgrimage, whether we're in a mosque looking at the various prayers, the du'as that are being inscribed on the walls, or in a temple moving from one deity to the next, one saying to the next, one sculpture to the next, one painting to the next. It doesn't matter which temple or church you're in. Every step you take forward from one moment of experience to the other is a space of rest, where you stop, you gather, you experience, you look, and you must see, you must listen to hear, you must feel, open up your energy system. So in that moment of rest, you are in fact fully capable of receiving everything that Spirit in those spaces has to offer. And like all pilgrimage, it is merely a shortened version of life itself. When I stand here and I look at creation and I see these magnificent mountains and I see the variety of trees and I see the people moving about their daily business, this is life. It is ordinary, everyday life. And in the midst of that life, we are constantly transitioning from one space to the next. In our daily lives, we get into our cars and we drive from one destination to another. And in that time, we are in a transition. We are in a different moment of experiencing ourselves as being with ourselves. It is a moment of rest. It's a moment of containment. It is a moment of being so fully present with yourself that even the traffic outside remains outside. And then life, whether we like it or not, whether we accept it or not, whether we even regard it as that or not, is a transition space. We are here temporarily. We are here transitioning from one lifetime to the other. The body is merely the vehicle that we get into, moving from one destination of self to another, moving from one vibration of self to another. And so an entire lifetime is in fact a transition. It may be a time of rest if you come and you breathe and you feel and you accept and you allow, then yes, it is more restful. But if you come and you agitate and you want to be perfect in the walk and you want to be perfect in the interactions and you want to perfect the experiencing before it has even unfolded, then no, it becomes undigestible. It becomes difficult. It becomes an arduous, hazardous route that cannot unfold of its own energy and of its own accord. So these transitions, there's so many of them. In our spiritual lives, when I speak to my students and they all want to rush ahead to the outcome, there is a neglect of the transition space. That the becoming is in itself a transition. That the transition is a space of transformation. It is a space of becoming. It is a space of resting in your own knowing, resting in your own learning, even resting in your own becoming. And my mother's son says, what is there to become other than love? In every transition space, you get a moment to feel the love that you have shared with others, the love that you have become inside, the love that you have been given as a blessing and a gift. In every transition space, you get a moment to absorb that love into your physical body and into your emotional body and even into your mental body. So when the crux of the matter comes, when there is a crucifixion of your spirit, when there is a moment where you will be punished for your very presence on earth, meaning you will be challenged and you will suffer and you will struggle and you will have catharsis and you will go through that dark night of the soul to stand in the light again, that too is merely a transition. In the wise words of Mahatma Gandhi, this too shall pass. So we know that everything is on its way somewhere. It is only in our desire to control it and manage it and manipulate it and stay safe in it that we want to contain everything, hold the moment secure. We want to keep it fast, anchor it. And like Our Lady Sun behind me, we want to bind its hands and feet that it cannot reach out to the next moment, that it cannot move forward into the next moment. And we forget, I am only human. I am only transiting this space. When we go through airports and we have layovers, we are transiting. We are transiting tourists. We sightsee and we shop and we do all of these crazy, wonderful things. And we lug our baggage around from space to space until we can check it in and get rid of it and feel a little lighter. That's life. It's exactly the life that each and every one of us is living. And no matter how spiritual we are, no matter how high the vibration of self, suffering is suffering is suffering. I miss home and I am at home. And I have to contain those two feelings in one space. I miss my sacred space and my environment, and I want to rush home and do all of my meditations and readings from my comfort zone. And here in my discomfort zone, I am forced to reach beyond myself into new spaces, into new beingness, in order to deliver the same messages, in order to be myself as fully as possible. All of this discomfort that I am experiencing is a transition. I will come out the other side of this discomfort with a new sense of myself, with a new sense of accomplishing as myself, as an energy being, as a spiritual being, in my relationship with spirit, and maybe even in my relationship with human beings. But most importantly, in my relationship with myself. I am learning the value of transitions. I am learning the value of not getting stuck in one place and thinking that's the place, that's where I have absolute belonging. I am learning that exactly like the birth house that has 12 houses, I too can have 12 houses, that I can traverse all 12. And like the planets transiting the various houses and transiting exactly like the moon into various zodiac signs, I too can transit the 12 houses. I can transit all of the moon phases. I can transit the zodiac. And I can bring different influences to bear on the various aspects of my own life and the lives of others. That this is an act of service. When Mercury goes into retrograde and we all go into a tizzy about not signing contracts and communications becoming more difficult, we are completely ignoring the fact that Jupiter and Venus are talking to each other, that the sacred divine feminine now has a new source of wisdom flowing into her to counteract any of the so-called negative aspects of Mercury retrograde. These transits of the planets through the zodiac signs, all of the shifting and changing in the universe is uncontrollable. And they are all transits that bring influence to various aspects of our being. If we will just rest in them, if we will just gather energy from them, if we will just allow ourselves to flow with the transit itself, knowing that it is a space between spaces, that it is a space between destinations, even a space between destinies. Let us meditate. So let's take a deep breath in and get as fully grounded as possible in the understanding that for this moment, here, now, I am present in this experience, that this is an experience of my making. And as you get grounded, just take an aerial view of your life at the various things that you think are happening in it. For those of you who are more accustomed to registering what is not happening, stop for a moment, take a deep breath in again, get grounded, and focus on what is happening, what is going on. We cannot accept that which we do not see. We cannot accept that which we do not acknowledge. We cannot accept or work with the things that we choose to ignore or are in denial of. So get grounded, take an aerial view of your life, and see, feel, get a sense of what is happening. Get a feel for what you have created. And as you feel it, as you get a view of it, check for a moment if your innate response is to smile. Check for a moment if your innate response is to grimace. Check if your innate response is to activate the joy of being in your life, or if your innate response is to go into judgment of that which you have created. And once you have an understanding of that, just breathe. Make sure that you are grounded and relax. Be quiet. Get as quiet as possible. Listen for the sound of water behind me. Listen for the church bells that ring out from time to time. Listen for the feeling of the soft rain that is falling. And in your mind's eye, picture the space with all of its greenery as you are seated there, just breathing in all of the elements of nature available in this energetic transmission. Be in a transition space. This is meditation, a space of transitioning between one event or task or activity in your life and another. This is a transition space of resting for a moment, gathering your energy and taking you forward into the next moment with vitality, with clarity, with greater established, focused intention. So just get grounded and breathe. Allow your short-term memory to record and to register for future use whether your innate response to your life has been one of acceptance and joy and feeling blessed, or a series of judgments and complaints. We will come back to it later. In the meantime, just breathe. And feel your spirit growing bigger from breathing. Feel it growing taller from breathing, more established from breathing, more present from breathing. Let I, the soul, come to the fore. I am soul, present in my human body, in this suit that I've put on for this lifetime, prepared, willing, able to move forward, always moving forward in the sacred spiral of life. I am passing through. Let that sink in for a moment. I am soul, doing human, being human, feeling human, emoting as a human, thinking human, and I am passing through. Just let that sink in. And then bring your attention to your base chakra to establish that you are in fact grounded. And raise your energy upward from there to the upper base or the lower sacral chakra, where we have established the connectedness for belonging, where we have already worked to open up to new flexible thinking and being. And then raise your energy once more to the sacral chakra, to the seat of your creative intention and the divine feminine of self. And then raise your vibration and your attention once more to the upper sacral chakra or the lower solar plexus chakra, where it meets just over your small intestines. just below the solar plexus itself. And focus your attention on this chakra, where the energy flow of the beautiful orange and the vibrant saffron come together as a large flame within one. Where the water energy of the sacral chakra flows upward to temper and to moderate the fire energy of the solar plexus. And breathe into it. Feel this chakra opening. Feel it continuing the flow from your base into your sacral, upward towards your solar plexus. And just consider for a moment that it is no accident that your base chakra, the chakra of doing, the chakra of establishing your presence, is right at the bottom, and that there is an upward flow connecting you into a blossoming energy in the sacral chakra, and from there a bigger blossoming energy as we head towards the chakra that rules thinking. In the pattern of the chakras, it is important that I be present first. And in my presence, I create. And once I have set an intention, then I think. So when you work your way up the chakras, you are working in accordance with spiritual law. I get present. I intend and create through my intention. And then I think. I think to monitor. I think to evaluate. I think to transform, to implement, to become. I think my way ahead. Here in the connection between your sacral chakra and the solar plexus, we simply breathe. We allow the creative intention of the sacral chakra to blossom a little more as it prepares to meet my thinking, as it prepares to meet my attitudes, as it prepares to be challenged by my doubts and inner fears in the solar plexus. Here is where we prepare ourselves to be strong, to bring the feeling of self-respect and faith in our creations into the light of day. Here is where we prepare to implement our intentions. And this is where we feel our stomachs, our digestive systems churn in a preemptive fear, in a preemptive judgment. This is where we begin our thinking about what others think. And we shut things down before it can meet the influence of our imaginations and our visions of self in the solar plexus. So breathe deeply and let us open this chakra as fully as possible. Imagine that orange and yellow energy flowing into a beautiful combination with each other. You may even sense or feel shades of blue, shades of green, shades of red, shades of violet flowing into this space. If only because the sacral chakra, as the chakra of free will, is perfectly capable of bringing energy from all of the other chakras to any clear intention, any sacred flow of self, any sacred yearning of self. And any sacred yearning or any sacred intention that you create for yourself is a pilgrimage that you are placing before you. It is a pathway that you choose to allow to unfold for you in your life. It is a pilgrimage of self. So if you're calling your work a project, rename it a pilgrimage and allow it to unfold step by step with a little bit of faith and a great deal of hard work, knowing that this is the chakra which supports it. This is the chakra where we hold fast before we move into over-analytical, perfectionist behaviors and control. Breathe deeply and feel all of the muscles of your mid-torso relaxing as you breathe. Just breathe. Feel that chakra opening up, allowing all of the energy of the sacral chakra and the lower sacral chakra and the base chakra and the earth star chakra to flow up into it, allowing the energy of the solar plexus to flow down into it, creating a meeting space, a space of transition before the next experience, creating a space where you may gather your energy before doing, before thinking, before becoming, always the before the next moment. It may be a split second before the next moment. It may be 10 years before the next moment. This is the space, the same space in which you may be timeless, just resting quietly in it and feeling that chakra opening them up, loosening up the muscles of the small intestines, flowing outward to bring ease to the various sectors of the large intestines, flowing into the chakras of your stomach just under your heart, flowing downward into the chakras of your adrenal glands, and for practice we set a clear intention to understand, to know that everything is passing through, that people and places, souls, lovers, pets, friends, everything is passing through. I am passing through. I am here to rest a while. I am here to experience a while. I am here to gather unto self a while. And however short or however long a while, it is but a moment in the grand scheme of eternity and infinity. Allow your short-term memory to register again your innate reaction to the understanding that everything is passing through. And there in your mind's eye, you may imagine Our Lady in any one of her forms. We are so blessed by them all. But for the purposes of today's meditation, Our Lady of Betharram is standing in front of me with a star in her hand, but the star itself is fluid. It feels like it is a flowing star of water and air and light, and that in whatever frequency you choose to receive this healing, you may do so. That free will applies. So imagine, if you will, Our Lady all dressed in shades of blue, from the deepest, darkest blue of indigo, through to the palest blue of aquamarine, shrouded by white energy, with a beautiful star in her hand, and that from the midst of it flows this energy of water and air and light, bringing a high vibrational flow directly into your upper sacral chakra, directly into the chakra of free will, where it meets the chakra of self-respect, where it meets the chakra of the subconscious mind. Holy Mary, Mother of God, I thank you. May all the healing energy of your waters flow through us. May the healing energy of your love flow through us. May your understanding of humanity's sorrows and challenges and the grace that you are willing to bestow upon us flow through us. And Our Lady says, it is only in our ignorance that we suffer. It is only in our desire to hold on to what we think we know that we suffer. I know suffering well. I have lived it and I have been it. Set down your sorrows for a moment. And in setting them down, see the light of who you are. See the star of who you are. They call me the star here, only because I shine so brightly in their darkness. Where there is darkness, any light will shine brightly. Where there is light, any light may feel it is in the shadows, that it is not as bright or not seen as brightly as it is. Check in your own life. Where are you holding yourself accountable in lack? Where are you holding yourself in the shadows through competition? Where are you rescinding your means and your natural resources to be everything that you intend? You may receive as much energy as you require, as much energy as you can, for your own healing, for your own becoming, for the realization of your dreams. Or you may choose to turn back, to not move forward into the next and the next and the next. The way of the cross is hard. Any pilgrimage is hard. It is usually an upward climb. Like all ascension journeys, it demands that you look upward to see where you're headed, to be inspired by it. But if you choose to look upward and see only that the pathway ahead is long, that the pathway ahead is steep, then you may stop even before you have started. You may turn back before the light becomes your own. So breathe me in. I am a mother. I give you all that you require unconditionally. Breathe me in. Thank you. And if you see all of the blue shades of Our Lady beginning to glow as if she has become the starlight itself, then you may just go into a space of rest again, knowing that your energy system is completely connected and that it is receiving the healing energy being sent from this sacred space. Just breathe and allow. Just allow the beautiful shades of blue to flow into you, to flood through your upper sacral chakra, downward into the sacral, downward into the lower sacral chakra, and downward from there into the base chakra. And if you will, downward from there into the earth itself, that you become a channel for the healing of the earth. I serve while I am here, in this moment of rest. I serve while I am able. I serve by being present. And just breathe gently and let the energy continue to flow, knowing that all is well. All is beautifully, perfectly well. And as the energy flows all the way into the ground, remind yourself, in the base chakra, I am present. In the sacral chakra, I am creative. And by the time we get to the solar plexus chakra, I am transforming. Here in the transition between being creative and transforming the world, we have a moment of rest. We have a moment of becoming prepared. We have a moment of being with self. So just breathe and relax. And when you are ready, take a deep breath in, get grounded once more, and bring yourself back to this moment, here and now.